Another grand tour, folks. This is part 7. We're taking a look at another huge terrain down in the southern mid-latitudes called Terra Cimmeria. We'll have a look at the anomalies there and at some of the sites surrounding the terrain. Featured in previous episodes, Aonia Terra, Argyre Planitia, Elysium Planitia, Noachis Terra, Promethei Terra, and Protonilus Mensae. I'll include the link to those videos in the video description as well. So we'll be having a look at this huge terrain in the southern mid-latitudes called Terra Cimmeria. We'll also have a look at some of the surrounding sites where I discovered some more anomalies. Right, let's go down to that site and have a look at the anomalies, guys and girls. What I'll do is I'll divide this up into 4 quadrants as well, like I've done in the past, just so that I don't lose sight of the anomalies. So let's pop that in across there. Right, let's measure how vast this terrain is. So it measures about 1,700 kilometers by 1,300 kilometers. Okay, let's start with some of the outlying anomalies, just so that we don't miss these. Check out this strange object there, guys. This is about 10 meters long. It's got a diagonal ridge across it with these small protrusions next to one another in a row there. And that part there next to it looks almost like an obelisk shaped anomaly. It's also got a weird black spot there on the one side. And then we get to the usual suspects, these megalithic blocks with protrusions in their centers. There's another one of these discs. This one's about 9 to 10 meters in diameter, and it's got a strange part there close to its center. Like many of the discs I've shown in the past. Check, there's another block with a small protrusion or knob on it. This is a strange design. Look at the curvature of this piece. It looks almost like a sculpted or metallic piece. The rounding on it is quite remarkable as well. And then it's got a small cube right there in the center of it. That there looks like it could be a small sphere. Yet another one of these quarter disc-shaped anomalies with straight edges there, close to a right angle, and then the rounded side. And as customary, it has a small part in its center. Check it, this piece definitely elevated off the surface. The shadow it casts over there. It's a very strange item. And it's got straight edges and a right angle to it there as well. On top of this, we've got a small disc, and that there's about 2 meters in diameter. And this here looks like it could be an opening in the surface. Check at the smaller parts over here with 90-degree angles to them. And it looks as if this area has been disturbed in the not too distant past. Have a look at the anomalies up here to the northwest. Check out the small parts on that item. Very similar in size and shape. We also see these patterns quite often where we've got 3 objects arranged in a triangular pattern. These two over here look like dark spots, very similar in size and shape, arranged in a triangular pattern with this larger object over here. Here's another example of these triangular patterns. This looks like a piece of sheet metal with the rounded corners, 90-degree angles to it, and then the way these have been placed, you could say on top of that. Perfect triangle going on there again, guys. This also looks rather artificial. Got a T-shaped piece of here to the one side. Another partial disc-shaped object. This one's got a cube on the top, also slightly rounded. This looks like a sculpted piece. The shape of this thing is incredible, check that out. Now we've got a straight edge to it as well. It's also got a uniform depth to it, check that out. Small cube right there in its center again. Check out these 3 slabs or tiles over here. Straight edges and right angles going on there. There's another one of these strange sandwiched parts. Looks like a disc on its side, and then on either side we've got those long narrow pieces. It's shaped very much like a fork. Check that out. Look at the uniform width to those slots, parallel to each other as well. Another disc-shaped anomaly, the part there in its center. Check out the curvature on this one side. Another strange part with what looks like a triangular pattern on it. With the rounded corners there, 90-degree angles to it as well. Strange rectangular part sticking out of this. It looks like a hole in that part. Another disc-shaped anomaly with a small square right there on top of it, folks. Let's get into the top left quadrant. At the first site there, check out the triangle on top of this bright part there, folks. Each of these is similar in size and shape. This looks like a hatch lying on top of this rectangular part, definitely rounded in shape like a dome. Disc type anomaly there. And this type of anomaly is also quite common on Mars. It's a long, narrow, rectangular part with a small protrusion or knob on the one side. Check at the right angle there as well. Right, this looks like some type of metallic debris or wreckage. It's got sharp edges to it, and it looks like it's been bent up and ripped apart slightly as well. Strange structured item going on here. It's got like a ramp or a step on the one side. 90-degree angle over there, folks. Another disc-shaped anomaly. This one's got a small oval object on the top over here. Here we've got layered objects. Check it, the one on top. It's got like a right angle to it there, elevated above the surface of this one underneath, which looks almost like a piece of sheet metal again. Look at that. 90-degree angle there. And this is parallel to this one side as well. Another disc covered in debris and sand over there. Strange T-shaped anomaly on top of this part. Look at the symmetry and geometry to this. It's slightly bent over as well, and it looks like there's a hole in this object underneath it. Another square object with a small part in its center. Check out this symmetry and geometry going on here, folks. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides visible on that object. And then a small object on the top of this part that looks like the letter I. Check that out. And there's a hole in this rectangular part there as well. That there's about 3 meters across. Get the two parallel ridges or bevels on this part. Right, let's go up to the right hand quadrant. Strange disc-shaped anomaly there. It looks almost like a wheel. Get the spokes and the center part. And then this disc-shaped anomaly, looks like there's another one behind it, but there's a 5-pointed star on the side of this. Check that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points to that thing. More items with parts in their centers. There's a dome-shaped anomaly. This one's about 10 meters in diameter, if I can recall correctly. There's another one of those pumpkin seed-shaped objects. Get the symmetry and geometry in this piece. Another one of those weird anomalies that looks like the letter I on top of this rectangular part. It's got 2 layers to it as well. Get that bevel going through there. 90-degree angles to that part as well. Symmetry and geometry in this piece, folks. Definitely has this rounded design to it. Convex in nature. Look at the elevation of this one side off the surface. Another disc. Convex in shape as well. This looks almost like a fossilized bone. This piece is huge. It's about 8 meters long. And this type of anomaly is also quite common, where we have a small triangular part on top of a larger piece That there's almost got the same shape as this first anomaly we looked at there. This one's just a bit smaller as well. Get the straight edges and right angles on this piece. Again, are we looking at some type of sheet metal or very thin tile or slab? Another piece that's quite similar over there. And this is also a very weird piece. Got straight edges and right angles to it. And then this part that seems to be cut into it, also with a right angle to it. Another hexagon shaped object there. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. This type of anomaly is also quite common on Mars, where we have two large pieces next to each other. There's a gap between them and a small part that bridges the gap. This looks like a dark square object over there in this case. This is also a very strange arrangement. Look at the similar angles to those parts. And then this part on top seems to be open on the one side here, and it's parallel with that piece there. This looks like some type of container. The right angle, and then this looks like a piece sticking out of the opening there. Right, let's have a look at these two sites just outside Terra Cimmeria. Got two large objects. There's a gap between them and a small part in the center that bridges the gap. This is what the original looked like. It's a stitching artifact in the photograph, and now I've just corrected that. I moved the one piece to align nicely with the one next to it. Long narrow part, a small part there in its center. This is also quite common on Mars. Check at this part sticking out of this opening. Again, a small part in the center of a larger object. This is also rather odd. This piece on top slightly rounded here on the one side, lying diagonally across this part underneath it that has right angles and straight edges to it as well. A disc with a dome on it, right there folks. Check at the dome on top of this. Small sphere on top of this object right there in its center, folks. There's another triangle depicted over there. Each of these objects is similar in size and shape. Just going through these briefly, otherwise this video is going to be very long. Right, let's get back to Terra Cimmeria, the lower left quadrant. And there's quite a bit going on there, folks. Let's check this site out first. Get the perfect straight edges on this piece. That there looks like a rectangular opening, and then a bevel on top parallel with this one side. Perfect block over here, guys. Get the uniform depth to this thing and see 3 of the sides and a small part on this one side. That looks like a little cube. Look at the way this has been bent. And then it's got right angles there. Is this possibly a piece of wreckage? And then this piece, check at that right angle there. Perfectly defined straight edges to it. And this looks like a hole in the surface. Small disc-shaped anomaly right there in its center. And then these 3 parts, who knows, maybe they covered the hole over there. A rounded arch shape to this. That looks like a hole, and it looks almost as if something's venting out of it. Maybe that's sand or dust lying on the one side, but check out this small part in the opening. Small narrow part parallel with this one side. And then who knows what this is. Looks almost like a face mask. But that piece is about 8 meters long. Get the opening over here, and then it's got this uniform skirt around it, and it's got this dome shape to it. Three parts sticking off the side of this object. Look at the spacing between them. That there looks like a small saucer and dome lying on top of this object. Check that out, folks. I wonder if that's a hatch. We can only speculate, right? Protrusion on that object. 2 on this one. And then 2 on this one. Check out this long narrow part lying on the side of that block. Looks like it's joined to it. It's got a slight bend to it over there. I've seen a block like this on Bennu asteroid. The right angles to it. And then there's this small rectangular depression in the middle of this one side. And it's also parallel with the 2 edges there. That strange depression on that object. Another quarter disc shaped object. Get the rounded side there, and then the 90-degree angle here. And as always, we've got a small part lying on top of it. There's another rectangular block, straight edges to it, right angles. And then on top of it, it looks like There's this saucer-shaped object with a small dome in its center. Plenty of disc-shaped objects going on here. So strange. Look at the two similar parts on the outsides there, and then these smaller parts in the center. Looks almost like this was some type of megalithic slab that broke up into these pieces. Look at the way they fit together. Oval object with a smaller part in its center. And then it looks like we have a rectangular part carved into this item. And there's a small block lying on the one side. Another partial disc-shaped object. This is a strange piece. Look at the triangular part on the one side. And then it's slightly shaped to point up. Look at that. Another piece that looks as if it's been carved. There's a triangle on the one side here. Check out this oval piece lying across that long narrow part at the bottom there. There's another one of these square objects. Check that out. It's got straight edges and a right angle right there, folks. Seen so many of those. There's another example of a small triangular part on top of a larger piece, and there's a right angle to that there and there as well. I don't know what these are. And that looks almost like some type of craft lying over there. The fuselage and the wings. And not that it is a craft, folks, but there's a bit of symmetry and geometry to that object as well. Let's see what's over here. Oh, this is where we have these strange sort of pyramidal objects. They're almost 100 meters long, if I can recall correctly. And this is an illustration I did of what they look like. And we found a couple of similar objects in Antarctica, almost the same size as well. Check out my video about Mars and Antarctica artifacts, if you haven't already. Right, let's have a look at the last remaining quadrant. Check out this strange object. Slightly curved. And then that looks like it could be hollow. Another disc-shaped object, small part in its center, 90 degrees to this back part there, and in line with it, the smaller part in the front. It looks almost like some type of craft. Another one of these triangular objects on top of a larger one, 90-degree angle there to it. Quarter disc shaped object there, and on top of it a pumpkin seed shaped object over there. Two layers to that anomaly, but check out the 90-degree angle here. Very straight edges. Two 90-degree angles to this part, and then this triangular part sticking off this object. That's a weird piece. There's another disc lying on top of what looks like wreckage or debris underneath it. And then look at the way that these seem to be lined up around it. Okay, one of the sites outside that terrain. This is where I found two huge blocks. This one over here shows up in a high-rise photograph. Get the straight edges, the right angles to this, and it's got a uniform depth to it as well. And this part that's sticking out is about 120 meters long. So you can imagine how big these blocks are. And that's it for this grand tour, folks. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up, please, and share it with like-minded friends and family. Let's see what we make of these anomalies. Let's have a chat in the comments below. To my new subscribers, welcome on board. I'm almost at 3,000. The last time I checked, I was at 2,999. Thank you to everyone who supports my work. Much appreciated. Take care, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.